Wits Picks is back, aka the most profitable UFC bettors on the planet. Alright, we're back with our boy IBG, the former Dagestani. Alright, so we're about to give you guys the free sauce, the free picks for UFC 327. Alright, lock in. Matt, get us into the first fight, bro.
All right, wait, before we start the first fight, IBG, appreciate you for hopping on, bro. Huge blessing for you to be on this video with us for UFC 327 Miami. Carlos Ulberg versus Yuri Prohaska. IBG, you want to update anyone on your status and since you've been not on the show? What's
Yeah,
going on?
man. I just haven't been doing much. Thank you for having me on. Obviously I began my looks maxing journey a few days ago, but obviously we're here to give you guys the locks, man, with the wits picks, man. Let's get it
Yes, sir.
going.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, IBG. All right, boys, guys, today I know we weren't there for y'all last week, but last week we just decided to completely fade that card because it was the worst fight card I've ever seen in my entire life. And we're back here for a huge event. And let's get started with the first fight, guys. As you can see on the screen, we have Charles Radke versus Francisco Prado. And guys, I'm pretty hyped to break this down, honestly. First of all, we have Charles Radke, older fighter, Francisco Prado, younger. Last fight went to a split decision with Nikolai Vertenikov, which I do believe that Francisco Prado won. That fight was in the lightweight division. We're moving up to welterweight here for Francisco Prado. I think Francisco Prado, honestly, gets it done in a decision. I think he's tough. I think he's a fighter. I don't think Radke's gonna knock him out. I think Radke's washed. And Prado's the pick as an underdog for the first fight on the card. IBG, what are your thoughts, bro?
I like that pick. You know, Prado, he looks more of a cartel member than his opponent, so I like that about him. He gives off that aura. You know what I'm saying? That he's a real killer. You know, and I agree with you on the Rodkey. He's old, man. He's old as fuck. You know, we all know fighting is a young man's sport. You know what I'm saying? So get this fucking grandpa out of here. New gen. Let's get it, baby.
Yo, amazing pick. Prado plus 150 underdog, and it's just amazing, bro. It's a 50-50. So much value. So much value. All right.
So much value. Also, wait, he's also Argentinian, and they want to prop up Argentinian fighters. And there's another Argentinian on this card, but we'll get to that. But next fight, we have the square himself, Kelvin Gastelum, Mr. Durability versus Vicente Luque, right? Vicente Luque here is pretty much insanely washed up now. Pretty sure there are rumors about his brain bleeding after the Jeff Neal fight. Honestly, kind of facts,
Yo.
which is really insane. Yeah, I heard like that's why he became like shit. Don't know why he's still fighting. If that's the case, Kelvin Gastelum, Mr. Durability, even though he's built like a square and can't make weight and he's a fat fuck, we're gonna go with Kelvin Gastelum. He low key looks like fat Nazareth Hakparast, and that's how we're gonna go with him. So I think he's a lock. Kelvin Gastelum at plus at minus 200. And what are your thoughts on this fight, Benji?
Yo, I totally agree. We've watched Kelvin. This fat ass has hands, bro. Actually, fast hands too. So, and he's so big, he has way more power than all of his opponents, and that's what I love, bro. So, Kelvin minus 200, it's great. He's pretty much a lock. IBG.
See, I was actually gonna choose Vicente Luque before I heard about the brain bleeding. You know, like his family must not love him if they keep him fighting. You know, Dana White pay this man so he doesn't have to keep, pretty much dying for you. But after hearing that, I have to give it to Gaslam. You know, I do agree. Fat sack of shit doesn't make weight. You know what I'm saying? But I had to say it. I think he has this in the bag, man.
Yeah, I think Kelvin's the pick. Also, he didn't get finished by Joe Pyfer, and Izzy got finished with ease by Joe Pyfer, which is ridiculous. So
Cook.
Kelvin is still insanely durable. And honestly, I doubt his fat ass is going to make weight. So he's probably going to be at a weight advantage against Vicente Luque. So we're going to go with Kelvin for that reason. Next fight on the card. This is an interesting fight. We have Chris Padilla versus Markel Medeiros. Markel Medeiros, a solid record versus Chris Padilla. Chris Padilla here. We did cash on Chris Padilla in his last fight as an underdog against Ishmael Bonfim, but I just personally I just don't think Chris Padilla has that much like he's not a very technical fighter when it comes to mixed martial arts. I
Yeah.
think Medeiros is more technical in my opinion. But Padilla is a favorite this time, which he's been an underdog for most of his fights. He's on a 3-fight win streak as well right now. Padilla is, it's hard to fade Padilla, but I think this is the fight that he's going to lose. And I'm going to go with Markel Medeiros. Not very confident in it. But yeah, I mean, Chris Padilla,
Mm.
he's good, but we're going to go with Medeiros. IBG, what are your thoughts, bro?
I completely agree, man. I feel like this fight could go either way. But if I had to favor someone, I do believe Medeiros. I kind of am biased a little bit because, he does look like a bit like kind of like my cousin. So I like the pick. You know what I'm saying? He reminds me of him. So we're going Medeiros. Benji, talk to me, man.
Yo, listen, Medeiros, I just watched his Contender Series knockout.
Yeah.
Insane. I crashed, literally. So, bro, Medeiros is amazing and he's a good prospect, but Padilla is also a really good prospect. I don't know, bro. This is actually tough, but I'm switching to Medeiros last second. I think that's gonna be my pick. He could be really good in the UFC, like insane.
Yeah. Um, Easy. I think it's a good pick, but it's close. It's close. Next fight, we have the female Habib, is what they call her,
Yeah.
Tatiana Suarez versus Lupi Gondinez. Guys, people forget, man. Tatiana Suarez right here is married to Patchy Mix.
Oh yeah, that's cooked. That's
That's
cooked.
how you
Oh
know we're going with
fuck.
Lupi Gardinez. Easy pick, Lupi Gardinez. Tatiana Suarez cannot strike for her life. Lupi Gardinez is a solid wrestler, gonna stuff the takedowns, and it's gonna be a standing fight where Lupi Gardinez is gonna beat her with punches and so on and so forth. We do always fade the women's fights, but this one, when we realize that Tatiana Suarez is married to Patchy Mix and she's chopped, we're gonna go with Lupi Gardinez in this fight. Benji, what are your thoughts, bro?
All right, yeah, Loopy is the pick because we were watching that Suarez fight, her last fight. She looked so shit on the feet in rounds two and three. Like, honestly, I think Loopy will beat her in the exact way that Wei Li Zhang won against her. Same
Ooh,
way,
okay.
with hands, with just pressure. Loopy is also just like an amazing boxer, so I do not want to fade Loopy in this. Loopy's the pick, bro. IBG.
Mm. I do agree, man. I don't know if Tatiana Suarez took that as a compliment, getting called the Khabib of women's MMA. I mean, they're pretty much calling you a boring piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and
Oh,
also Loopy. You know what I'm saying? Loopy, she mocks Tatiana Suarez. And obviously Tatiana Suarez, she's not a great fighter at all. You guys covered her already. Striking sucks. The only thing she got going for her is the ground game, but even then, it's like not much danger there. I think we have to definitely go with Lupi Godinez, however the fuck you say her last name. She's pretty hot as well, so we're going with her.
all right,
It's a
bet.
good pick. Benji, I want to hear your breakdown of this fight.
Which fight?
The next fight.
Here, wait, say it. I don't have them pulled up.
All right, okay. We have Mateus Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovics, and I'm
Yo.
so hyped for this fight. Let's go. We have Gamrot here, who's a favorite. We have Esteban Ribovics, guys. People forget, man. Esteban Ribovics was the guy that put Terrence McKinney to bed with that head kick. To sleep, Esteban Ribovics has insane hands. Now, the one knock about Esteban Ribovics
Or is that?
is that he won a split decision against one of the worst fighters in the UFC, Daniel Zellhuber. So
Uh,
that is the one knock about Esteban Ribovics. One of the craziest fights ever. Mateus Gamrot over here. Last fight, Charles Oliveira. We know what happened. Gamrot's hands are mid. Lost to Dan Hooker. Is there anything else to say? Dan Hooker has zero wrestling. If Gamrot can't get the control of time in wrestling, then Ribovics is gonna put on the punches, put on the damage, and I think he's a great underdog pick here. at what was it, plus 150? I'm not too sure, but he's a good underdog pick here. At whatever he is, I would take it. Um, yeah, Rebovix is the pick for me. Benji, what are your thoughts?
Yes, bro. Rebovix is the pick. He's an underdog. He's like plus 150 or something. Bro, these plus 150s are gonna cash. So, bro, Esteban, he's younger. You know, he's way better on the feet in boxing. And I'm pretty sure he could stuff most of the takedowns. And if he stuffs them early, when they're dry, it's wraps. It's wraps for Gamrot. So we gotta take the underdog. This should be even odds. Should be a pick 'em. But we're gonna take Esteban Ribovics. Yo, IBG, what do you think?
Just facts, kid. And yeah, man, Gamera absolutely sucks. Every time I put money on him, it's a fucking donation. And I mean, yeah, man. Everything about Gamera, I just don't like, man. For some reason, every time he gets punched, it looks like he's about to get knocked out. He's always wobbling all over the place. He's not a fighter that I would ever put money on ever again. You know, all he got is wrestling, but what's the danger there, you know? You know, he doesn't submit people. He doesn't, you know, there's no danger with him. You know, you hear Gamera, you know, you think of the guy that, you know, a Dariush victim. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck are you losing to Dariush? So, yeah, I do think this underdog pick, beautiful. We're going to have to go with Rebuvic.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And guys, this card is actually so stacked because we haven't even got to the main card yet, and we've had
Ooh,
so many banger fights. And we have another banger fight here. We have the two identical twins, Kevin Can
the
Holland.
YNs. Let's go, baby.
Kevin, Kevin Big Mouth Holland versus Randy Brown. Randy Brown versus Kevin Holland. Pretty much a pick 'em in the odds category, but I think Randy Brown's a lock. We fade Kevin Holland here on Wits picks. Kevin Holland, you cannot be losing. Who did he lose to in his last? Oh, he won his last fight. Oh no, he lost to D Rod. He beat Vicente Luque in his last fight. But how are you losing to D Rod? You losing to D Rod? D Rod for real? Randy Brown, solid fighter. Got knocked out by Gabriel Bonfim. A little bit of a fluke in my opinion. I still think Randy Brown's really good, and I just think he's better in every aspect than Kevin Holland in my personal opinion. Two identical twins pretty much look the same. When you guys watch the fights, I doubt you'll be able to tell the difference. But Randy Brown's the pick. Benji, what are your thoughts?
Dude, when I saw these odds, dude, I got so happy because Randy Brown is so much better. I think Kevin Can Holland, just he got dominated by Mallet. Remember that? Mike Mallet?
Oh yeah,
Yep,
you're
yep.
right.
Bro, and he tried to give up. Like, he wanted to give up in that fight. And I think Randy Brown will just piece Kevin Holland up in like the second and third, same that Mike Mallet did. And Randy Brown's tough. I think he would have beat Bonfim if he didn't get knocked out like that.
Yeah.
So, bro, amazing pick. All right, Randy Brown,
Oh,
such a good
yes,
pick.
sir.
Bro,
IBG, what are
Fucking
your thoughts?
cooked. You guys have cooked, man. I will say that. You guys have cooked. And that's the thing with Kevin Holland, man. That dude is so inconsistent. You know, he gets dominated by some of the worst fighters in the UFC. And yeah, man, I believe Randy Brown is just more committed to his craft. I do love this YN fight, you know what I'm saying? I do love this very gangster matchup. So this should be a fun one. I am gonna be telling Randy Brown though. You know, I'm out of my mind if I choose Kevin Holland and I put my hard-earned money on this little fuck that always just does dumb shit in the middle of a fight. So we're going with Randy Brown.
Yeah, good picks so far, guys. In the last fight, the featured prelim of the evening, we have a Bellator fight.
wait,
A
what?
Bellator fight
This isn't in the main
between
card?
Patricio Pitbull and Aaron Pico. We have two Bellator legends here. Pitbull versus Pico. Everyone wanted the fight in Bellator before Bellator disintegrated into flames because PFL bought it. So Patricio Pitbull ranked 13, Aaron Pico unranked. Guys, people forget, man. Aaron Pico was supposed to beat Lerone Murphy. what happened in that fight? Obviously, we took Lerone Murphy because we know what we're talking about in that fight. But Aaron Pico was a considerable favorite in that fight. Why? If that Aaron Pico didn't get knocked out by Lerone Murphy, which I consider honestly a pretty lucky knockout, because when we were watching that fight, we saw Aaron Pico absolutely destroy Lerone Murphy in that first round up until that spinning elbow. Now he's fighting Patricio Pitbull, who got dominated by inactive Yair. No one gives a fuck Rodriguez, right? He got dominated by him. Pitbull, sorry. And then Pitbull fights Dan Ige. Dan Ige, motherfucker, and he goes in a 29-28 decision, barely beats Dan Ige motherfucker. Aaron Pico is the easiest lock on the card. He will knock out Patricio Pitbull in the first, second, or third round, whatever the fuck you want it to be. Aaron Pico is the pick. The Bellator fighter for Bellator fighter. They're trying to give Aaron Pico a layup. And Pico's the pick. IBG, take it away.
Holy fucking cook. That was a cook. And yes, I do agree. I think this is more of a layup fight. This is like a stepping stone. Pitbull is a stepping stone for Aaron Pico. And yeah, anybody that says that, the KO that Murphy delivered to Aaron Pico's chin was not lucky, they're delusional. That was a very lucky KO. Murphy should be praying to the gods every day that he landed that. But yeah, besides that, I do think Aaron Pico is gonna absolutely demolish Pitbull. Pitbull is what, almost 40 at this point. I don't think he has much gas in the tank. I think he's on a losing streak. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I think he's on a losing streak. There's nothing really favoring Pitbull in this matchup. He looks like a juice head as well. I think this should be a pretty easy fight for Pico. Benji, talk to me.
Yo, Pitbull by ferocious KO in this fight, bro.
Pico.
Oh no, yeah, Pico. My bad. Pico by ferocious KO, probably in like the second round, maybe. But they're gonna grapple each other for the first round for sure for a bit, and then Pico will he'll Luke Riley him in the second, bro. So you know this is just amazing because we're gonna put Aaron Pico in every single parlay and it's just gonna pay way more. So this is good, bro. Honestly, IBG, we're gonna about to make so much money. Okay, let's hear what you think.
Wait, guys, before we move on from this fight, Aaron Pico trains with Boars and Armon.
Oh my god, I
So he's
forgot about
really
that.
fucked because he's now in that gym with Boars, Armon, Roundtree, all these insane fighters. And if you train with those guys in Newport Beach, California, you're insanely good at fighting.
Yeah,
And yeah, we forgot about that. But Pico, that's why he's also the biggest lock on the card.
yeah,
After Boris was training with those guys, we knew he was a lock. So
Such a
Pico,
yeah.
lock.
such a lock at minus
It's
3.
over, man. Over.
The next fight, guys, we are on to the main card here, and I'm so hyped for this because we have an interesting fighter at our hands. We have two unks battling it out. We have Cub Swanson, 42-year-old Cub Swanson, the unk of unks versus Nate the Train Landwehr. Guys, we think Swanson's gonna win this fight. It is his retirement fight. Landwehr is not bad. He's also older, but Swanson, I feel like he got a good win last win, good knockout. He wants to come back and get another good W before he retires. Swanson's the pick. It's not like I'm insanely confident in it, but I want to take Swanson. I like him, the retirement fight. So thank you for what you've done for the UFC Cub and IBG. What are your thoughts, bro?
Nate the Train, more like Nate's about to feel that fucking pain. Yo, bro, this dude's getting knocked the fuck out, and it's not. I ain't gonna lie, man. Cub Swanson, man. The retirement fight, he's going out with the bang. He's gonna go all for it. And I think Nathaniel here we have is gonna be on the wrong side of this. I think this is gonna be very brutal. Obviously Cub Swanson, not the most reliable recently for KOs, but still, I think he's gonna really go all out. He's gonna have a bigger motivation to really step out there and do something big. To end off his career. So I 100% am going with Cub Swanson. Benji, do you agree?
Yes, I agree, bro. I don't think Nate the train gets like a decision win over Cub Swanson. I just don't think that happens. Cub Swanson swings with power too. He gets these powerful KOs. Some of the best highlights in UFC, bro. Cub Swanson. So we're just gonna go with Cub Swanson. They're both old. It's another a third or fourth underdog on the card. So yeah, that's it.
Next fight, boys. I'm super hyped for this one. And I'm gonna let you break this down. We have Johnny Walker here versus Dominic Reyes. Number 10th ranked Dominic Reyes versus number 12th ranked Johnny Walker. Ben, what are your thoughts on this fight?
All right, so listen, we have Glass Chin, who has good boxing and pretty good takedown defense, against Glass Chin, who gets lucky KOs, okay? Dominic Reyes has the slight edge in this, okay? Just because of his good boxing. And I just see him chinning Johnny Walker. Like, I love Johnny Walker, bro. Him and Walter are the boys. But, bro, Dominic Reyes should win this fight. And there's, if he gets knocked out, not surprised. Yeah.
This might be the most 50-50 fight of all time for me. I'm not gonna lie. I believe whoever really lands the first clean punch is gonna get knocked the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really a kind of a tricky fight. We have the battle of mid, pretty much. Both guys can't fucking take a shot if their life depended on it. But if I had to really pick somebody, gun to my head, I would have to say Johnny Walker. We're gonna be a bit different here. Because, Dominic Reyes, he seems like he's a bit scared to really get in exchanges, I've seen that with Carlos Ulberg. He seemed a bit, he wants to keep his distance. When he gets forced into the fire, he doesn't really throw his shots properly. So I do believe that Johnny Walker is not afraid to walk into the fire and say, fuck it. Let me throw a flying knee just to throw it. So I believe that's what's going to win the fight for him. I have Johnny Walker by round 1 KO. That's how we push him, baby.
Bro, absolutely great breakdown there by IBG. I loved how you broke it down there. That was great. But it's to me, it's also a most 50-50 fight of all time. Um, like you have two guys, whoever gets hit first pretty much will get knocked out. Both probably the two worst chins in the entire UFC, Johnny Walker and Dominic Reyes. Johnny Walker honestly surprised me. We had Zhang Minyang as the biggest lock of the year, and Johnny Walker destroyed him.
Oh
So
yeah.
Johnny Walker is coming off of a good win with some good momentum, but it's just difficult for me to pick Johnny Walker, knowing that Dominic Reyes is the overall better fighter. Um, I maybe Zongmin Yang isn't that good. I just it's very hard for me to tell. We have two guys that are just huge, super tall, 6'6" and 6'4", glass chins, but I have to pick somebody. I'm gonna go with Johnny Walker. I think Johnny Walker is gonna win this fight just from based off momentum, I think. And I do agree with IBG that I think he's gonna throw the first punch. I think he's gonna be the aggressor. I think Dominic Reyes just got knocked out in his last fight brutally by possibly the next heavyweight champion. And I think he's gonna be a lot more tentative. And Johnny Walker's the pick. But for the betting guys out there, take the under 1.5. Why wouldn't you? It's the freest bet ever. Take the under 1.5 in this fight. It's just two glass chins versus two glass chins. So Johnny Walker is the pick for me. And here we go. The next fight. And I'm so hyped for this. But I'm going to let Benji talk about this one first. We have Josh Hokett, unranked Josh Hokett. Our boy, Josh Hokett. Former NFL 49er tight end, Josh Hokett. Former two-time NCAA wrestling champion, Josh Hokett versus number 5 ranked Curtis Blades. Benji, what are your thoughts on this fight, bro?
All right, so when Josh Hokett fought Denzel Freeman, okay, I thought he was gonna be like insane, right? He still got a crazy KO, but in the late first round, I saw Hokett he was gassed. already. Shit gas tank. I think he has the same gas tank as Teixeira. Okay? Is really bad. So, bro, I just think he's gonna get pieced the second and third round. He's gonna get controlled up against the cage, and Blades will just take the decision. Like it's, I want Hokit to win. He's our boy, but still, like his gas tank might just be too shit to win against Blades at this level. So, yeah, bro, that's what I think.
I totally see what you're saying. You know, I believe Blades does have more ways to win than Hokit. I would say that. And I do agree, man. Josh's gas tank looks a bit questionable. You know, I don't trust that. People with weird gas tanks like that, I don't like putting my bread, you know, on them. So I'm gonna also have to go with Curtis Blades, but I think he's gonna get a late round 3 TKO over Josh Hokit. And that's my personal lock. Talk to me, bro.
Guys, I hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna disagree with you here. Josh Hokit, all right, is my boy. Love this guy. I followed him his entire MMA career. We slammed him in his last fight against Denzel Friedman. Yes, he did look gassed against Denzel Friedman. I will say that. But the UFC knows something here. Josh Hokit only fought 2 fights in the UFC. They see a star rising right here. Josh Hokit, in my opinion, will slime out Curtis Blades in the first round. I think he's better than Curtis Blades at every aspect of MMA. I think he's a better wrestler. I think he's better striker. I just don't. Maybe he doesn't have a better gas tank, but let me tell you something. He's been training for this fight for a long time. But I'm gonna tell you right now is he's much lighter than Curtis Blades. That gives him an advantage with speed. Now, and I'm gonna tell you also, Curtis Blades. When was the last time he beat somebody good? He lost in his last fight to Rizvan Kuniev. People think, yes, it did say he won that fight, but if anyone would watch that fight, they knew Rizvan Kuniev won that fight. Rizvan Kuniev is not a good UFC fighter. He beat Jelton Almeida, sure. Who everyone beats Jelton Almeida. That guy sucks. Josh Hokit here will slime out Curtis Blades. I think he's gonna be a heavyweight champion in the UFC one day when it's all said and done. I love this guy, Josh Hogan. I love his demeanor. I love everything about this guy. I love his fighting style. He's super exciting. And I think the UFC wants Josh Hogan to get this W. Now, mark my words, if this is a close decision, which I don't think it will be, they will give the decision to Josh Hogan. Why? They want to build a star in the heavyweight division. It is insanely, insanely shallow right now. Josh Hogan is the pick. P.S. Brittany Griner is a man. Josh Hogan is the pick. I love this guy, Josh Hogan. I'm so hyped he's on this card, and I'm so hyped I get to watch him. And yeah,
You know
that's why
what,
I'm for Josh Hogan. So, and this,
bro? Bro, threw in a fun fact.
he said that in his last fight when he knocked out Denzel Freeman. He goes, Brittany Griner is a man. P.S. That's what he goes. So we're gonna go with that, Josh Hogan. I want to see you on the mic again at UFC 327 Miami. And this next fight, guys, we have right here, right? If you don't know anything about the UFC, you probably think Paulo Costa is going to win this fight. You have Paulo Costa versus Azamat Murzakanov, right? Paulo Costa, right? This guy, mager, looks like a fighter, look pretty good looking guy, no diddy. We have Azamat Murzakanov, short, stocky. Let's not be honest with each other. Chopped, no hair. If you looked at Azam Mirzakhanov, you would probably believe he's a taxi driver that smells like Dior Sauvage. Let's be real. That's what, and cigarettes. Dior Sauvage and cigarettes, right? Fat fuck, bald, chopped, stocky, short, but this guy is a fucking marauder. Azamat Mirzakhanov is 18-0. Insane finish rate. And he's fighting Paulo Costa, the UFC hates. He's canceled like 11 fights. Paulo Costa did look good in his last fight, but it was against Roman Kopylov, who's a fraud, in my opinion. And he did look good, but Asmat Mirzakhanov will slime out Paulo Costa in the first round. Easy KO. He literally knocked out Alexander Rakic with a stiff jab. What are we doing? 18-0, Asmat Mirzakhanov, minus 200. I want to say the Wits pick of the evening. And I will. And I will. And I will. The Wits pick
Oh,
Azamat
Yo.
Benji, take it away. What are your thoughts, bro?
So the thing is, like, we don't really see Paulo Costa get knocked out, but bruh, Azamat Mirzakhanov is the pick. He's gonna knock out Paulo Costa. I think I just see it happening, bro. Like his power, he's 5'10" at that weight class. His power is insane. So Paulo Costa's getting chinned, and it's pretty sad, but that's what happens. IBG, do you agree?
Totally. I'm about to say, man, in a mug off, yeah, man, Paulo Costa wins over that ugly piece of shit. But this is a fight. You have to remember this. And I do have to go with the Russian, man. Paulo Costa, you might have not gotten knocked out in your whole career, but this is your time now. You're about to go to sleep, kid. And yeah, this should be a pretty easy fight for the bald Russian. Uh, Azamat also, you made a very good point. He knocked out Rakic, yes, with the stiff jab. Ankalaev couldn't do that. Ankalaev, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. So we're going with Asma Paulo Costa. You're getting slimed out, kid.
Yes, sir.
Put it in your parlay, guys. Put it in your parlay. Asmat Mirzakhanov. And guys, we're here. This is the main event.
Main
of the
event.
And I'm so hyped for this fight because we have fan favorite, everyone's favorite, Yuri Prohaska, the samurai himself, versus Carlos City Kickboxing male stripper Olberg. People forget, man. Carlos Olberg. He's probably gay. He's probably gay. His teammates, Dan Hooker, Israel Adesanya, who else? It's like pretty zesty at whatever. I mean, what those
Holy
two.
fuck, that gym is weird. Oh shit.
Dan, he's probably a part of the Dan Hooker files. Izzy, his relationship with dogs. Who said I was the underdog? Who said I was the underdog? Nobody's talking about dogs, bro. Chill. Israel Adesanya, what are we doing? Carlos Ulberg here, right? And enough dilly daddling. I think this is a really close fight, guys. Really close fight. Even though Carlos Ulberg was a male stripper, it's a close fight. Ulberg completely slimed out Dominic Reyes in the first round. And let me break this down for you guys. All right. People will say that Yuri is going to really win this fight easily, but I have a little rebuttal to make to you guys, okay? So what people say is, Ulberg didn't look good in his Jan Blachowicz fight. Listen to me now. Jan Blachowicz doesn't really throw too much, which makes Ulberg not throw too much. That's why people might think Ulberg isn't the most exciting fighter. But Ulberg is a counter striker. That's Yuri's worst nightmare, which kind of sucks. Ulberg's a counter striker. He has a nasty left hook, probably the next best left hook in the entire UFC, besides we all know himself, Potan Pereira. And that's what put out Yuri in his last fight with Pereira. The left hook knocked down into the head kick knockout. Ulberg, I think, has the power to knock out Yuri, in my opinion. It's super close, and I will say that if Ulberg doesn't win in the first and second round, we will be hammering Yuri Prohaska. Yuri did not look good in his fight against Khalil Roundtree, that's for sure. We had Roundtree in that fight actually as an underdog, and we almost cashed. Roundtree dominated the first 2 rounds, but gassed out. And it could happen to Ulberg here too, but it's just hard for me to see Yuri not get slimed out. I love you, Yuri. I love you. And I hope you do touch gold. This fight is really 50-50. I don't know if it's going to be in many parlays, but to me, Ulberg's a slight pick. Benji, what are your thoughts, bro, on this main event?
Yeah, bro, you said everything. Olberg should be the slight favorite in this fight just because of that counter striking and his power too. So, yeah, I think he catches him. I really do. IBG.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sad day for Jerry fans, you know. And I was kind of convinced otherwise. I think I was letting my bias get in the way. I was thinking, this should be an easy fight for Jerry, but looking more into it and looking at Jerry's struggles against past opponents, the counter strikers, man. You know what I'm saying? When you're a wild guy, you get caught by those counters. So I do have to go with Carlos Ulberg, but I don't actually see him, winning by TKO. I'm going for a hot one here. I'm going to go with Carlos Ulberg by unanimous decision. I know that's a pretty tough one because Jerry, he's not known for going to decisions. He's usually finishing opponents or they're, finishing him. No Diddy. So if I had to put gun to my head, I have to go with Ulberg. I have to go with the zesty male stripper. I hate to say it. I hate to side with that. That weird crew, but I think that's the pick, man. That's the lock.
Yeah, guys, honestly, I agree with IBG. Um, for us, it is pretty difficult to go with someone that's from the dark side, if you will. And Olberg is a part of that crew. I love Yuri, dude, and it pains me. I don't want to bet on this fight because I want Yuri to win so badly, dude.
Yeah,
I love this guy Yuri. He's one of the most entertaining fighters. And look, it's honestly possible he knocks Olberg out too. It's not impossible.
yeah,
I definitely see it. If I was a bettor, I would look to bet on other fights. Just because you should just really enjoy this fight. To be honest with you, this is gonna be a classic. And we were supposed to have Van and Tyra on this fight card, y'all. Like, it's just, it would have been too good to be true. It would have been too,
yeah.
it would have been too good to be true. But yeah, I think Olberg does slam him out. 55-45 Olberg, in my opinion. I love Yuri, and it sucks to have to go against him here. But if he wins, and I'll be happy for him. But and to be honest with you guys, this is the only fight in the entire card, maybe one or two other fights that I'm not insanely confident in. All these picks were made with intent research. We've all done a lot of research for you guys for Wits picks. And yeah, we're back here in America where we should be gonna watch these fights for UFC 327 Miami. Last thing, I wanna say thank you to our boy IBG the Waffler, guys. Thank you to IBG for hopping on. Um, yeah, boys, please subscribe to IBG's YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. He's blowing up lately, making some really, really funny videos. And it's cool having him on the Picks betting show like this with us. And yeah, IBG, thank you for coming on. You have any lasting thoughts you want to say?
Thank you guys for having me on. You know what I'm saying? I'm always fucking honored to fucking be with the best fellows with the best locks. So, like I said, I'm always appreciate you guys for having me on. And all I know is that we making some bread this week.
Yes, sir.
Edgy, take us away, bro. Take us away.
If any of you guys stuck to the end of this video, you're a legend and you just gained IQ from watching this. So, yo, Wits Picks family, we'll see you guys Saturday. All right, peace, you retards.